everyone, this is Stephen Bullock, your instructor for microeconomics and macroeconomics at Ozarka College. In this video, what I'm going to do is show you a demonstration of how to calculate the tax rates that you will need to calculate for one of the questions on the chapters 3 and 4 assignment. All right, one of the questions will ask you, it'll give you a table of 3 different incomes and the tax amounts that go with each one of those incomes, and it will ask you to compute the tax rate for each of those. And then it will also have you calculate the marginal tax rate for each of those as well. And then it will also ask you to look at the various tax rates and see if they're actually increasing as income increases, which would be a progressive tax system, or whether the tax rates decrease as income increases, which would make it a regressive tax system. So basically what I've done here, this table that I'm showing you here is a demonstration. It's basically an example that's very close to the one that you're going to do for your assignment. It's not the exact same numbers. I purposely made the numbers different. But what the purpose of this is that it's going to allow you to see how you're going to calculate each of these rates and complete this particular problem on your assignment. Okay, so what I've done here is, you'll notice in the first column of the table, I've got the income levels. So it starts out at $2,000, then goes to $4,000, and then goes to $6,000. And then the tax rates that go with each of those are $200, $500, and $900. So to calculate tax rate, it's very simple. It's just a ratio. It's just one number divided by another. Basically, in this case, you're going to take the taxes, which are in the second column, and divide that number by the income that goes with that tax amount. Okay? So on the first one, it would be, if you'll look in the third column here, I've basically shown you the calculation. So it'll be $200, which is the taxes, over the income, which is $2,000. And so 200 over 2,000 would be 10%. So we basically say that that tax rate is 10%. Okay? Now, to calculate the marginal tax rate for that first one, it's very similar, but it's not exactly the same. So what you're going to have to do, the marginal tax rate, remember, any kind of marginal value is the change in one value over the change in another value. So in this case, it's basically the change in our taxes as we move from, in this case, on the first row, it's going to be moving from 0 income to $2,000 of income. And then also the change in our taxes would be start out at zero income, and then goes to $200. So you're going to end up with the same 10% value because that's where we're starting at. So we're going from 0 to this first income and first amount of taxes. But on the other tax rates or the other incomes, you're going to have to, it's going to be a little bit different. So, but basically the marginal tax rate, since it's the very first income that we see in the table, since we're moving from 0 to 2,000 and 0 to 200, the marginal tax rate is going to be the same as the tax rate for that first group of numbers there. Now, for the second one, you'll notice the income on the second column or second row of the table, excuse me, is $4,000. Okay, the income's $4,000, and the taxes are $500. So to get the tax rate, it would just be $500 divided by 4,000. So you're just taking, again, the taxes divided by the income. So it'd be $500 divided by $4,000, which would be 12.5%. All right. Now, to get the marginal tax rate for that income and taxes, again, you take the change in the taxes divided by the change in income. So in this case, it would be $500 minus $200, which would be $300, divided by the change in income, which would be $4,000 minus $2,000. So you end up with $300 divided by $2,000, which is 15%. Okay? All right. And then the last row there is $6,000 income and $900 in taxes. So again, to get the tax rate, very simple. It's again a ratio. You just take the taxes over the income. So it'd be $900 divided by $6,000, which is 15%. And then the marginal tax rate, again, is the change in the taxes divided by the change in income. So in this case, it would be $900 minus $500, which is $400, divided by the change in income, which is $6,000 minus $4,000, or $2,000. So the marginal tax rate for that last row of the table there is $400 divided by $2,000, which is 20%. Okay? So one of the other questions it's going to ask you on the assignment is to look at the tax rates and how they are actually either increasing or decreasing as we move down through the table as income increases, to determine whether the tax system that we're looking at here is regressive, progressive, or is it proportional. All right? Of course, we already know it's not proportional because we got different tax rates for different levels of income. So the only thing we need to determine now is by looking at the movement as we go down through the various tax rates there and incomes, we need to see whether those tax rates are increasing as income increases, which would be a progressive tax, or whether it is decreasing. In this case, it's increasing as income increases. It goes from 10%, then to 12.5%, and then to 15%. So it is a progressive tax system, which means that the higher the income, the higher the tax rate. All right? So that basically is what I wanted to kind of explain in this video. I've got down here at below the table here, I've got the formula for calculating the tax rate and also the marginal tax rate. So use this information to help you to work through that particular problem on the assignment. And let me know if you have any questions, and I will talk to you next time. Thank you.